Break, build, repeat has a really good one. What is your favorite noise you heard on MythBusters? Explosion, vacuum break, just weird, something that really made you laugh. Yeah, no, I know exactly what it is. So we were doing the story. If someone lobs a hand grenade at you, can you shoot said hand grenade out of the air? And the answer is totally. Absolutely. Hand grenades have a very limited sphere of influence. And so if you can shoot that before it's like within 15, 20 feet of you, you're very likely to survive. And in skeet shooting, shooting something that's coming towards you is the easiest thing to shoot. You have all this time and it's coming on a single line sort of, so you have all this time. But how do we determine this? It turns out it turns out of all the things that we ever got permitted on the show, using tons of C4, ampho, nitroglycerin, that the one thing we were never able to get a permit for was a real hand grenade, having a real hand grenade on set. Because, look, part of being a producer is going for the low-hanging fruit to frame out your story. And like, we're doing an episode about can you shoot a hand grenade out of the air? We absolutely need to begin this episode with a hand grenade, pull a pin, throw it, demonstrate its operation. That's how you build the stakes. You get people interested in this. And there was just, the military has that locked down. No way, no way. It's easier to get C4 than it is to get a hand grenade, at least in my experience from television production experience. And then we were like, can we buy an empty hand grenade and put C4 in it? And they were like, absolutely, that's totally fine. But that's also because it wasn't a live fire, right? It's not like we're not igniting it with the blasting cap built into the grenade. We're actually lighting it remotely, so it's much safer. But this is about the noise. So we're gearing up for this episode. We're learning how to make our own grenades. We're trying to figure. We go skeet shooting. We get educated in some skeet shooting, which is really fun. I still have Jamie's beret that he challenged me. If you can shoot it, you can keep it. Which actually, this is a second tangent for the sound story. Jamie said that to me on set, on camera. I'm gonna throw my hat from behind a wall, and if you can hit it with a shotgun blast without knowing when it's gonna come out, you can keep it. And he did it, and I hit it. And then he was like, I don't really remember saying you can keep it. And I was like, you bastard. And then cut to like 4 years later, we're doing a college appearance and someone asks about the hat and Jamie says, I don't really remember saying you can keep it. And the whole audience let Jamie know that he was in the wrong. And the next morning, we're back at MythBusters and he put it on my desk. Anyway, we're gearing up to do this episode. We're learning skeet shooting. And then we're also wanting to log grenade-shaped things rather than skeet clay, because we want them to fly like a grenade might fly. So Jamie builds a grenade mortar that hurls water balloons. And it's basically a PVC pipe with house air pressure and a little electronic valve that releases air into the bottom of the pipe and book, shoots this water balloon out about the size of a grenade. I think we were using like what do you call it? The balloon animal balloons, right? Little, small, highly tight. And I think, were we even filling them with goo or were we filling them with just water? I can't quite remember. At any rate, this mortar that Jamie built, we're in M5. I really still remember specifically. So he takes this balloon, like just picture a hard-boiled egg, a really hard-boiled egg, and he puts some animal birthing lubricant on it and slides it down this PVC pipe that's about this long and activates the valve. And the sound of that water balloon leaving the PVC pipe was this ringing boink. It was like, it was a combination of like 3 different Wile E. Coyote Bugs Bunny sounds all at once. But part of it was that pop, part of it was this like boom, this hum, and the other part was this sort of like percussive smack. And it was, oh my God, we he did it, and he and I looked at each other, and we're just like smiling, and we're like, we gotta go get everybody. We go get everybody, and we keep doing this sound. And then we took it out to the field where we were actually able to fire grenades that we were able to shoot with a shotgun. It was so much fun. That's the best sound. That is the most fun sound in the whole, in the doing of the show. Chauncey Lockwood asks an interesting question. Are there any small injuries on MythBusters that gave you a longer lasting lesson? I see where you're going with the question. Like, were there injuries that were ostensibly innocuous at the beginning, but we realized were potential problems? I mean, you know, we had a producer blow out their knee on just like hiking up a high muddy hill. We had a lot of injuries over the years, but they were all relatively minor. Broken fingers was the most common injury on the show, and that was usually from moving around the safety equipment, specifically the blast shields, which they weigh like 150 pounds apiece. You got to kind of rock them and move them like Egyptians, and kind of like, they were just super dangerous. I broke my finger. I can't even remember which one. I think it's one of these metacarpals. I can't remember. But yeah, that was the most common injury. But I will say, every single time someone got injured, we learned to have a confab about it, a meeting, and talk about what happened, why, is there something we could have done to prevent that? What can we do to prevent it going forward? And someone once said, all rules are written in blood, which is 100% true. There were so many things we didn't know about safety out in the field. And there were so many times we learned the hard way, and the hard way was, throughout the whole of the show, gracefully not that hard. I'm very, very grateful that there are no significant injuries from all that time, because there certainly was the opportunity for it. We worked with very, very dangerous stuff. But like, I can't stress that enough. Working on a team of any kind where safety is an issue, when a safety issue happens, it's the most important thing to really go over. So part of this is stuff that I had in my head because I love lists. And if you like lists, Atul Gawande, an amazing science writer for the New Yorker, wrote a wonderful book called The List Manifesto, in which he talks about one of the most important safety stories there is in industry is the story of the FAA and how they built the safety systems for allowing pilots to self-report mistakes without punishment, because they realized that even incompetence had important lessons to it. So they made it really clear that pilots weren't to hide their mistakes from each other. There's no way we were all going to be safe if there was a fear of punishment and the pilots were afraid to report something that happened for fear of reprisal. And so the FAA built an anonymous reporting system, and there's a lot more to it than I am doing here. If you're at all interested, please research it, because it's a really amazing bit of clarity they brought to the practice of safety at scale. It's really important. And we took that lesson at the show when we lost track of that cannonball. And we'll tell that whole story today, but when we lost track of that cannonball, we went to the house of the people it had most damaged. They were so mad, and I totally agree with them for being mad. They were enraged, and they took our apologies, which were meaningless given their rage at this thing we had done that hurt their house, which is totally understandable. But what they really wanted to know is, are you going to make sure that this never happens again? And that we said, yes, we are going to do everything we can to change our protocols so that the specific confluence of things that yielded this mistake, this never happen again. And it didn't. But that's how you have to do it. Okay, Tyler James, your second question. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I wanted to briefly mention that you could become a tested member. I know, everybody is competing for you to become a member of their thing. What I want to express to you is that the tested membership has become such an important part of the tested family. We get tremendous feedback from the tested members, and they expand the stories that we can tell and the things that we have access to. And you can become a part of it right now by clicking on the link below. See you in the chat.